tonight. First of all, Patrick Maher was born on the 3rd of June 1891. His mother was Ellen Crish, and his father's name was also believed to have been Patrick Maher. Patrick Maher was born out of wedlock and was baptised Crish, but took his father's name later in life. It has been said that his father left for Australia and was never again heard of. Patrick Maher was the sole provider for his aged mother and was reported as being a man of excellent character. He built a house in Glenlara, Garsplain, where the late Nellie Downey lived, which would be at Garsplain Cross, with turn right for Kilfinnan, just after the electricity station on the right. One event would change the life of Patrick Maher and indeed cost him his life, and this was the rescue of Sean Hogan and Knocklong. During the period leading up to the rescue, and indeed following the rescue, Patrick Maher had worked for John O'Raven at Knocklong Creamery, where his duties were packing and crating of eggs which he used to take from the creamery to the rail. As we all know, the rescue of Sean Hogan. Following the rescue of Sean Hogan, the RIC and British Army began widespread searches in the areas of Galilee, Emly, Ballynars and Knocklong in their search for the rescue party and Sean Hogan. These searches were even more extensive than those carried out following the Solihull Big ambush. The operation involved door-to-door searches on both houses and local businesses in the area, and several premises were visited on more than one occasion. Throughout the summer of 1919, these searches continued without any substantial results for the authorities, as they were unable to locate the men that had carried out the rescue. Despite the RIC would have been around Gershon at the time to be the RIC. They began to piece together what they thought had happened and who was involved at Knocklong. As a result of their investigation, the RIC had a list of 12 suspects in relation to the rescue. One of the men on this list was Patrick Maher, and he was a suspect due to the fact that he had given contradictory statements in relation to his movements on the day of the rescue. Also, a Constable Ring, who was one of the RIC men on the train transporting Sean Hogan when he was rescued, stated that Patrick Maher fitted the description of one of the rescuers. Another factor in the suspicion of Patrick Maher was that private information had been given to the RIC which named him as an active member of the rescue party. Patrick Maher was questioned during the month of June 1919 in relation to his movements on the day of the rescue. The home of Patrick Maher was also searched on the same day by the RIC, where they examined the coat with what the RIC described as a bullet hole in it. This coat, according to Patrick Maher, had a hole which had been created by the tear of a nail. Following this initial questioning, Patrick Maher had held no further correspondence until his arrest on the 24th of September. On the morning of the 24th of September 1919, the RIC arrested 4 suspects in their homes, which were Patrick Maher, Eamon Foley, Michael Murphy and Michael Shanahan. The RIC operation was later followed up by 2 further arrests of suspects, which were Thomas Shanahan and Michael O'Connell. This came as a shock to the men and indeed the local population, as the operation of the RIC had been reduced in relation to the Knocklong incident. It seemed that the RIC had made little progress regarding the rescue of Sean Hogan, and a period of over 5 months had elapsed before these arrests were made. Following their arrest, the 6 men were taken to William Street RIC barracks in Limerick City, where they were brought before a special sitting of the court. This resulted in the men being charged with the murders of 2 RIC men at Knocklong. This was the official charge that was given in court. Felony and willful murdering and killing Sergeant Peter Wallace and Constable Enright on the 13th of May 1919 at Knocklong in the county of Limerick. Moving on to the trial. During this court sitting, 2 witnesses identified Patrick Maher as being involved in the rescue. One of the same witnesses also identified another member of the accused called Eamon Foley as one of the rescue party. Following the adjournment of the court, the 6 men were held in RIC custody. For several months, these men remained in custody until they were sent to return to trial on the date fixed for the 24th of February 1920 in Limerick. This did not take place, and despite the best efforts of the defence team, the trial of these men was fixed to be held in Armagh. An application was made by the defence for the trial of these men to be held in Cork, which would have been their fairer option. This application was refused, and it was ordered that the case of the four men would take place before a special jury in Armagh. The then Law Advisor to Attorney General, named W.E. Wiley, stated in his opinion Belfast was the venue where a fair and impartial trial could be held. The legal representation for the accused men was John J. Paul of Kilmallock, and following the movement of this trial to Armagh, he was aware that the jury would be made up with mostly men from the Orange Order, and he believed that this would go against the defendants. The press at the time had reported the case of Knocklong men as a murder carried out by an organisation that was fighting to establish an Irish Republic. This factor, particularly in Northern Ireland, it was argued, would affect the fairness of the trial of the accused, due to the fact that the jury would be made up of people from opposing political and religious views. These factors led the defence team to believe that a fair trial would not be achieved in Armagh. The defence realised, for the sake of the accused, to seek the help of an Northern Ireland council and sought the help of another Orange Order member called Richard Best. Richard Best tried to alleviate the fear that the jury would be prejudiced against the accused, and stated that not all Orange men were prejudiced, but many were honest men. This actually turned out to be the case. Despite the objections of several members of the defence team to Richard Best being involved, the accused men wanted him to defend him. Richard Best agreed to defend him and stated, "Will not let Knocklong down." The first court sitting fixed for Armagh was adjourned following an application made by the Crown prosecutors, and was set for the next sitting of the court. The following court was held in July 1920, and true bills against three of the defendants, which were Patrick Maher, Edmund Foley and Michael Murphy. Patrick Maher was the first of these men to be charged, and also no true bills were found against three of the remaining defendants, which were Michael Shannon, Thomas Shannon and Michael O'Connor. A true bill is a legal term which means that the majority of a jury has seen sufficient evidence to prosecute the accused. The trial of these men was then adjourned again this time on the request of the defence, due to the fact that one of the witnesses for the prosecution had disappeared. This is very interesting, this one. The witness was Sergeant Riley, who, despite the fact that he was a witness for the prosecution, was also viewed as a key witness for the defence. Sergeant Riley was reported as being kidnapped by several men the night before the trial and released 2 days later. Sergeant Riley then reported to Kildare RIC barracks and informed them of his ordeal. The prosecution was happy to continue the case without Sergeant Riley, first of all. Sergeant Riley and his alleged disappearance was a contentious issue due to the fact that he was a key witness also for the defence. This was the case because it was known by the defence that Sergeant Riley could not and would not identify any of the defendants as having taken part in the rescue of Sean Hogan. While John Powell was preparing his defence, he became aware that the hue and cry, which is an initial statement given by the RIC, in this case Sergeant Riley, and the statement was in the possession of the RIC. This statement became an important part of the defence and the accused due to the fact that the descriptions of the attackers did not fit those of the accused. A copy of this was obtained by the RIC when the RIC barracks was raided and the statement was given to John J. Paul. This document was hidden by John J. Paul and used to be used at the trial, and also due to the fear of RIC search to retrieve the document. The home of Mr. Paul was indeed later raided by the RIC in search of this document, but they failed to locate it. It appears strange that the alleged Sinn Féin members would have kidnapped a key witness for the defence, which was Sergeant Riley, which could have cleared the accused. Indeed, Mr. Paul argued that Sergeant Riley had been put into hiding because the prosecution believed the defence had a copy of the statement, and this would have had a detrimental effect on the case of the prosecution. The two trials in Armagh ended in deadlock when the jury disagreed on the verdicts of the accused. It was argued that in Irish and English law this would have been an end to the trial, but in this case the accused, they were to be sent before court martial. Now it's interesting because, I mean, after all I've said about the Orange men, I mean, they didn't convict him. They couldn't find enough evidence to convict him, but still they were sent on to the court martial. The court martial took place in Dublin on the 15th of March 1921, and the court consisted of several high-ranking British officers. The fact that these men were to be tried by a military court greatly reduced their chances of acquittal due to the fact that there was no jury and the decision was left in the hands of 6 British officers. The trial lasted for 5 days and resulted in the convictions of Patrick Maher and Edmund Foley on the charge of murder. The remaining accused, Michael Murphy, was tried separately and acquitted of all charges. Maher and Foley were sentenced to death by hanging, with the execution set to take place on the 7th of June 1921. Despite several pleas for clemency and also a plea for a reprieve on behalf of the 2 men signed by over 2,000 influential members of the community, including the then Archbishop of Ashfield, the executions went ahead. Even a letter from the father of Sergeant Wallace, who was one of the RSE men killed at Knocklong, did not aid in the convicted men. This letter was sent to General McCready, who was the commander of the British forces in Ireland, and pleaded for the mercy for the convicted men. It also stated in this letter, "May God forgive those who were really guilty." Now, this was the father of an RSE man that was actually murdered at the rest, and he didn't believe that these men were guilty. The British government's introduction of the Restoration of Order in Ireland Act, which was short for ROA, was an attempt to control the conflict in Ireland at the time between the IRA and the British forces. The ROA placed the case of the accused men in the hands of the British military. The ROA replaced DORA, which was the Defence of the Realm Act, which was in place in Ireland during World War I. The ROA brought about a change in relation to British policy in Ireland and was a direct reaction to the rising attacks by the IRA during the War of Independence. One of the main powers in relation to the legal system was the fact that it confirmed on all court martial the powers which had been to date exercised by civil courts in Ireland. This act was also introduced following the collapse of the Assize court system in Ireland in July 1920, when the jurors in many parts of Ireland refused to attend it. This was the case due to the fact that many jurors and also magistrates were being intimidated and their lives threatened by the IRA if they took part as a juror or presided over the trial, any trial. This factor rendered the British legal system in Ireland in effect useless, and many people were being detained awaiting trial. In reaction to this, the British introduced this legislation where a trial would be conducted without a jury and under the control of the British Army using the court martial process. Also under this act, a total of 10 men were hanged during this period from October 1920 to June 1921. These are the names of the 10 men that were hanged: Kevin Barry, Thomas Whelan, Patrick Maher, Patrick Doyle, Bernard Ryan, Thomas Wong, Frank Flood, Thomas Traynor, Patrick Maher, and Edmund Foley. These men would be later known as the Forgotten Team. Penny Maher is on the bottom. In the case of Patrick Maher and Edmund Foley, they were the first of the 10 men to be arrested, but they were the last to be executed. There existed in Ireland a feeling among the authorities as early as 1919 that there was a need to hang someone following the escalation of attacks by the IRA. Lord French had suggested the imposition of martial law in certain areas of Ireland, while senior RSE men and Brigadier General Bunn argued that it was more effective to obtain convictions and hang the murderers. Indeed, Neville McCready, who was the Commander-in-Chief of British forces in Ireland during the period, stated in relation to the execution of Kevin Barry, it was a clear case of the sort which the soldiers and police rightly expected us to enact the full penalty. It is important to remember that this was the same Neville McCready to which Patrick Maher's defence team sought clemency without success. The statement given by Neville McCready in relation to Kevin Barry's execution shows the resentment he felt towards anyone who was charged with the murder of any British forces in Ireland. Of course, the hanging of Kevin Barry and other 9 suspects under this legislation raised support for the IRA and did not restore law in Ireland as IRA attacks continued. The trials and executions of the Forgotten 10 men under the powers given to the military in this act allowed them to gain convictions with relative ease. The fact that they could charge some of the men for having the intent to take part in operations against British forces aided in gaining these convictions. Basically, they didn't even have to prove that they were involved, that they shot someone, that they just had to be, if they were there was enough. On the morning of the 7th of June 1921, Patrick Maher and Edmund Foley were taken from their cells following prayers and visits from their family members the previous night and led to their deaths. Prior to their executions, both men were weighed with their clothes on, height, age and sex documented. The length of drop for a successful execution was also measured and documented by the hangman. And in the case of Patrick Maher, it was estimated at 7 feet. After Patrick Maher entered the execution cell, he stated, "I am innocent." Both men were hanged at 7 in the morning at Mountjoy Jail and went to their deaths with great dignity. The two men were hanged side by side with white caps in their heads and died instantly. Their executions were witnessed by 9 people. Before their execution, the two men praised the behaviour of their captors and the fair treatment they received while in custody. The same day, the two men were buried together in a single grave in the grounds of Mountjoy Jail. The prison medical officer from Mountjoy Jail, Dr. B.H. Hackett, witnessed the execution of Patrick Maher and Edmund Foley and stated, "In my opinion, death was instantaneous and due to a fracture of the cervical vertebra." Notice of the executions were posted in the gate at 8:15 the same morning. This notice was carried away by the crowd, which had gathered outside the prison to pray for the accused men. Both men had spent almost 2 years in Mountjoy Jail and were among the last men to be executed before the truce with Britain was signed. Ironically, the last man to be executed before the truce was William Mitchell, who was a member of the Black and Tens, and he had been convicted of murdering a justice of the peace. Despite the fact that the British forces in Ireland had been responsible for many deaths and numerous innocent people during the War of Independence, William Mitchell was the only member of these forces to be found guilty of murder and executed. These are the statements that Paddy Maher gave before his execution. Our souls go to God at 7 o'clock in the morning, and our bodies, when hands reach, shall go to Galilee. And he also said it was a pleasure for him to make the supreme sacrifice and offer up his innocent life for Ireland's freedom. He could die for no better object, and in the next world he would pray for the success of the cause. Patrick Maher and Edmund Foley had been prepared for their executions and had expressed their pleasure at giving their lives for Ireland. These two men showed great courage in accepting their fate. And in the case of Patrick Maher, he was hung for something that he had no hand, act or part in. The arrest, trials and later execution of Patrick Maher contained several key contentious issues which would lead to the execution of innocent men. The conviction of Patrick Maher hinged on several statements given to the RIC. The evidence used to arrest Patrick Maher in regard to a private statement by the IRC, which placed him as an active member of the rescue party, was an important factor which led to his arrest. Indeed, the summary provided by the RIC of the suspects gave explanations as to why Paddy Maher was a suspect. These included that he had given contradictory accounts of his movements on the day. At the time of the rescue, there was a strike at the local creamery in Knocklong, which resulted in Patrick Maher being boycotted in the area due to the fact that he was crossing the picket line in order to bring the eggs from the station to the local creamery. This boycott resulted in Patrick Maher being ostracised in the community and also led to the fact that he could not even purchase goods in the area. Indeed, as a result of this boycott, Patrick Maher received death threats and was actually under the protection of the RIC when he was actually arrested. These factors would show that there would have been many people in the area that would have given evidence to the RIC to incriminate Patrick Maher. This factor and the reason that Patrick Maher would not commit a murder in his own area, in which he was well known, would later be used by the defence during his trial. The evidence against Patrick Maher hinged on statements given to the RIC by 4 men in particular. Firstly, Constable Riley, who was a member of the group of the 4 RIC men escorting Sean Hogan the day of the rescue. The statement given by Constable Riley are dubious to say the least, due to the fact that in his original statement given on the 12th of June 1919, he could not identify anyone. This would later change, and an edit statement gave descriptions of the men involved in the rescue. As already mentioned, the defence obtained a copy of this statement, and it showed that the descriptions did not relate to the accused men. The alleged kidnapping of Constable Riley took place, and the defence could not use this evidence. Also, Constable Riley actively took part in the identification process of Patrick Maher following his original arrest. Controversy also surrounds this process when Maher and Foley claimed that they were in custody for a period of a month when they were left unshaven and were watched by 2 RIC men from a window. On the day of their identification, they were put in a cell and again watched by the RIC. And also, in one particular line, the 2 men were put in suits, left unshaven. They went to the docks, brought 10 people in their walking clothes. I mean, there was no way we were picked around 2 people. Constable Riley and another RIC men spent a period of time in the cell with the accused men prior to their identification, a fact which was later denied by the RIC. The identifications of these men would seem to have been staged to gain a conviction for the deaths of the 2 RIC men at Knocklong. The RIC realised that the identification of these men would be vital to any future conviction. Indeed, it was stated, very careful arrangements will have to be made for the identification of those arrested. This statement would suggest that the RIC made sure that the men to be identified would not be mistaken, and a lot of care and attention went into the identification process, particularly in relation to Patrick Maher. A further key factor in the conviction of Patrick Maher was evidence provided by Constable Ring, who was also a member of the RIC escort for Sean Hogan. This evidence suggests that Constable Ring would possibly identify one, if not more, of the attackers on the train, including Patrick Maher, to which he was supposedly very accurately described. The same Constable Ring later added his statement that while he was struggling with one of the rescue party, he began to get control of the attacker, at which point the attacker called out, "Paddy, Paddy, come back." This resulted in the man allegedly called Paddy returning and knocking the constable unconscious with a blow from a rifle. Constable Riley later identified Patrick Maher as the Paddy he saw in the train. This evidence was given on the 24th of October 1919, at which time Patrick Maher was already in custody. It has already been established that the rescue party did not contain anyone by the name of Paddy. Also, the graphic evidence later provided by Constable Ring graphic evidence later provided by Constable Ring failed to mention his own behaviour during the day of the rescue. Constable Ring jumped through the window of the train and ran roaring like a maniac. This fact was also corroborated by the train driver on the day of the rescue, when he stated he saw a policeman running down the tracks shortly after the firing began. It is clear that the RIC men running down the track was indeed Constable Ring, due to the fact that of the 4 RIC men transporting Sean Hogan, one was dead, namely Constable Enright, another Sergeant Wallace was dying, and the remaining RIC men, Constable Riley, was exchanging fire on the platform with them breathing. Constable Ring turned up at Emily RIC barracks the following morning, missing several items of clothing and in a distressed state. It seems strange to say the least that Constable Ring would be able to identify anyone in the emotional state he was in at the time of the rescue. At one of the trials, it was commented by a member of the jury, which we remember now this jury was 100 men, that the accounts given by both Constable Riley and Constable Ring was an attempt to paint their own story in their own way. The statement given by Constable Riley and Constable Ring, which clearly identified Patrick Maher, were the direct opposite to that given by Sergeant Wallace. Sergeant Wallace, who died from his wounds the day after the rescue of Knocklong, could only give a description of a man as being stout and wearing a bright grey tweed suit. This statement was made by a man who had struggled with 2 of the rescues for a period of time, in particular with Sean Tracy. The fact that he could not identify anyone in particular places further doubt on the statements of Constable Ring and Riley. The evidence of Constable O'Sullivan was also significant to the conviction of Patrick Maher. Constable O'Sullivan was a passenger on the train and was in the carriage next to the RIC party, which was escorting Sean Hogan. This statement given by Constable O'Sullivan in relation to the events of the day of the rescue identified Patrick Maher as being on the train and involved in the rescue. Constable O'Sullivan stated he saw a man rushing down the corridor of the train. He later identified this man as Patrick Maher from a lineup of 17 men on the 22nd of October 1920. Now we all know about these lineups at this stage. It has already been discussed that these lineups were set up to incriminate the suspects. Evidence later supplied during the trial was to show that the man identified by Constable O'Sullivan was actually a medical student, Joseph Kearney from Cork, who was a passenger on the train. Joseph Kearney was a member of the IRA in Cork and was travelling on the train with several other medical students. Kearney was asked by the defence team to give evidence at the trial. Following consultations with the IRA, Joseph Kearney was allowed to give evidence so long as it did not incriminate anyone. Joseph Kearney would later give evidence in Armagh and again in Dublin at the military court martial. But following his appearance at the Dublin trial, Joseph Kearney was asked by the defence to leave the court as soon as possible due to the fact that the defence were going to say that he was the man which Constable O'Reilly had seen on the train. This was the case, and it seemed that Patrick Maher and Joseph Kearney were very similar in looks. Joseph Kearney was also an important witness in relation to further evidence given by another witness for the prosecution. This witness was John Farrington, who was a corporal in the Royal Defence Corps and was a passenger on the train the day of the rescue. In his statement given to the RIC, he stated that he distinctly saw Patrick Maher. John Farrington also claimed that he saw a man running from the train into a field and that he later saw the same man hiding behind the hedge. Also, he further added in his statement that he saw a man on the platform with blood in his right hand and face and also identified him as Patrick Maher. It is important to point out that Patrick Maher attended work the day after the rescue and indeed up to the time of his arrest. A very unlikely actions for a man to be badly wounded. The man being identified in this case was Dan Reid, who had been wounded in the rescue of Sean Hogan exchanging fire with Constable Riley. It seems that Patrick Maher again was very similar in looks and build to Dan Reid also. The man John Farrington observed running from the train was in fact Joseph Kearney, who had left the train and had been fired upon by Constable Riley, forcing him and several other students to run into the field. Kearney then returned to the fields from behind the hedge to get back onto the train once the firing had stopped. It could be argued that the statements given by Constable O'Sullivan and John Farrington may have simply been a case of mistaken identity. But similar to the other RIC statements given, Constable O'Sullivan in particular had changed a lot from his first statement. The evening of the rescue, Constable O'Sullivan had given a statement that came out of RIC barracks and made no mention that he could identify anyone. It was following the identification at Limerick that this information in relation to Patrick Maher was added. The same Constable O'Sullivan also identified Michael Shanahan as being involved in the rescue and stated his identification of Michael Shanahan was as strong as his identification of Patrick Maher. But despite this, the jury in Armagh did not think Michael Shanahan should be tried and was released. Despite the fact that the evidence against Patrick Maher was dubious to say the least, other factors aided his eventual execution. The non-acceptance of the court of his alibi provided by Patrick Maher on the day of the rescue is important. Despite several witnesses stating that Patrick Maher was not at the station in Knocklong at the time of the rescue, this evidence was ignored. Possibly a factor in the disbelief of Patrick Maher's alibi lay in the statements of two people in particular. One of these was given by Mr. Mulville, who was the owner of a public house in Castle Lane, 3 miles from Knocklong at the same time. At the time of the rescue, Patrick Maher claimed he was drinking at Mulville's bar. When Mr. Mulville was questioned by the RIC, he stated that there was a good many in the bar in the evening, but I don't remember the name of any particular man that was in it. This evidence was later changed and he said that Patrick Maher was in the public house, but the damage had already been done in relation to placing doubt in Patrick Maher's alibi. Also, as part of Patrick Maher's alibi, he stated that Mr. O'Reilly had travelled with him from work and was with him drinking at Mulville's bar at the time of the rescue. This fact was denied in the statement given to the RIC by the same William Raven when he stated he did not go into Mulville's and he walked home alone. Now, it's very easy for us to, there were different times when people were in fear of what would happen to them. They didn't want to incriminate themselves or incriminate anyone else. The reason these statements were given is unknown, but perhaps it was due to the fact that the witnesses did not want to, as I said, incriminate anyone, including themselves. But it is clear that they did have an effect, as it laid out on Patrick Maher's alibi. The statement given by Patrick Maher in relation to his movements was cross-checked with statements from his family members, and both statements were the same. Also importantly, the statement issued by the RIC following the rescue stated that 6 men were engaged in the Knocklong murders and were on the run and were being looked for. This initial statement gave no mention of the description of Patrick Maher. One of the men who had been involved in the rescue was Edmund O'Brien from Galloway. O'Brien had fled the country following the rescue and had taken up residence in the United States of America, where he had been following the trial of Patrick Maher in the American newspapers. Edmund O'Brien knew that Patrick Maher had no involvement in the rescue of Sean Hogan and also knew that the evidence against him was false. While in the United States of America, Edmund O'Brien was actively involved in fundraising activities with IRA under Harry Boland. Edmund O'Brien asked if he could give a statement to help Patrick Maher. This request was refused by Harry Boland, and he stated it would not help and may render the fundraising useless. Edmund O'Brien also contacted Sean Tracy in Ireland, who in turn contacted Michael Collins in relation to Edmund O'Brien's request. Michael Collins replied stating, "Lie low for the moment." 3 days before Patrick Maher was due to be executed, Edmund O'Brien received permission from Harry Boland to give this statement. This statement was given through an American newspaper syndicate, Hearts Press, and catered to both Dublin and London. In this statement, Edmund O'Brien took full responsibility for the shooting and also that the RIC evidence against Patrick Maher was wrong. This statement was not released in Dublin or London until 2 days after the executions of Maher and Foley had taken place. The IRA was actively involved in the case of Patrick Maher and other defendants charged in relation to the Knocklong rescue. IRA headquarters has sanctioned the setting up of a fund to pay for the defence of the accused in the Knocklong case. There existed an element of danger for the defence team and the witnesses for the prosecution in regard to this case. An example of this can be seen through the fact that IRA shot dead Constable Carroll, who was scheduled to give evidence against Patrick Maher, and Edmund Foley. Constable Carroll was one of the investigating RIC men who had reportedly found incriminating evidence on the train following the rescue. Also, the defence team were attacked during the course of these trials, resulting in the death of one of the defence team. Johnny Lynch was a member of this defence team and was shot dead in Dublin in September 1920. Also, during the first trial held in Armagh, an attack was made on Power's defence team. This attack took place at the hotel where John Power was staying, and luckily for him, he was at a meeting when the attack took place. The bed in which Mr. Power was to sleep was riddled with bullets and was an obvious attempt on his life. This action was an attempted reprisal for the so-called kidnapping of the RIC man John O'Reilly, who was connected to the case. These factors may have instilled fear into those who were to give evidence for both defence and prosecution in this case. It is clear that the RIC did fix identifications of Patrick Maher and also added to their statements to try to get him convicted. It also has to be said that witnesses for the defence did purge themselves, giving evidence in relation to Edmund Foley. The defence produced witnesses to state that Edmund Foley was not in Knocklong, and it was clear he was one of the rescuers. On the day of the rescue, Edmund Foley was unarmed but willingly took part in the rescue. Edmund Foley was one of the 4 Galloway men that boarded the train at Headley and then took part in the rescue. This witness for Edmund Foley included his family members and a man called Dennis Daly. Also, the decision made by the accused and accepted by the defence team to choose a court-martial was a strange one. The defendants were offered a trial in Belfast following the collapse of the Armagh trial, or trial by court-martial. The failure of the Armagh trials to convict these men, despite the fact that the jury was full of armed men, should have left them with no fear of a trial in Belfast. Despite several attempts by the defence in postponing the court-martial, due to the fact that a truce may have been forthcoming between the IRA and the British forces, the court-martial went ahead, resulting in the executions of both Maher and Edmund Foley. In conclusion, the statements given by Neville McCready in relation to Kevin Barry's execution shows the resentment he felt towards anyone who was charged with the murder of any British forces in Ireland. Of course, the hanging of Kevin Barry in particular and the other 9 suspects under the Restoration of Order in Ireland Act raised support for the IRA and did not restore order in Ireland as IRA attacks continued. The trials and executions of the forgotten 10 men under the powers given under this Act allowed them to gain convictions with relative ease. The fact that they could charge some of the men for having intention to take part in these operations aided them in gaining these convictions. A further factor in relation to these 10 men was that they were tried as criminals and not as soldiers during time of war. This fact led to these men being hanged as criminals and not shot like soldiers. The case of Patrick Maher clearly shows that an innocent man was executed. The evidence provided by the witness for the prosecution has been shown to be dubious to say the least. Also, following the rescue, the RIC was aware that the men involved were already on the run. The use by the RIC of rig lineups leading to the identification of Patrick Maher has been clearly shown. The obvious oppression shown by the RIC to gain a conviction against Patrick Maher and indeed Edmund Foley has also been clearly shown through the fact that they changed their original statements, and also the alleged disappearances of the one RIC witness. Once the RIC became aware that this evidence would benefit the defence. The changing of the trial to Armagh, which would allow the jury to be comprised of mostly Irishmen, was a further attempt by the authorities to gain a conviction. When the trial in Armagh failed, the convicted men, the option of trial and request of a military court martial was a further attempt to make sure that these men were convicted and would lead to these men agreeing to be tried by the military with disastrous consequences. The fact that Patrick Maher was under RIC protection at the time of the Knocklong rescue was ignored. His defence was further undermined by the fact that he physically resembled Dan Green and Joseph Carney. Also, the failure of two people in particular to back up his alibi laid the seeds of doubt in relation to his case. The final military trial was judged on the fact of who the military court believed, the RIC or the accused. Patrick Maher went to his death with great dignity, always stating his innocence, but was still executed for murder. The drive by the British military, in particular through the use of the Restoration of Order and Arms Act, allowed them to have these men executed. The forgotten 10 were executed in an unsuccessful attempt to prevent the British Army from becoming involved in reprisals like their counterparts, the RIC in the Black and Thames, and also to boost the morale of the British Army in Ireland. The role played by never creating and securing the executions of these men has been shown. And also the attempted pleas for clemency to McCready were all unsuccessful. And finally, just a statement later given by Dan Green. Paddy Maher went to the scaffold with Foley for the same crime, even though he had not any act or part in the rescue of Sean Hogan. Both gladly gave their lives for Ireland, and their brave words spoken from the gallows will keep their memory green in the hearts of Irish patriots. May they rest in peace. Thank you.
Well, I suppose 45 minutes after we started talking, everybody knows an awful lot about Paddy Maher now, which is what the aim of these lectures are, that people go away and they understand the deeds of these people. And, you know, it's ironic in one way. It's the few days here where we were visited by Prince Charles and his wife. It's great that the relationship between Ireland and England is now as strong as it is, which we all welcome hugely. At the same time, we should reserve the right to remember our history, and we shouldn't have to apologise for that. And it's a factor we always discuss here, that, you know, we shouldn't have to apologise for remembering our history, but still acknowledge the great relationship that's there at the moment between England and Ireland. If anybody has questions to ask, actually you can ask Ty to turn off the heating anyway. Right? Is he listening to me? So if anybody has questions to ask Dave now, we welcome any questions in relation to the lecture. He has well explained, so he feels comfortable that he can deal with any issue that comes up. Tom is in pondering mood.
You referred to the evidence of Constable Ring and Constable O'Sullivan. Now, in the last few years, the Garda Review published an account of Constable Ring, which purported projected as an intelligence officer for the IRA. Now, what you put on the thing was that very clearly, I believe, that Constable Ring and Constable O'Sullivan had a shadow of cowardice hanging over them, and they were very valuable men in the hands of their superiors. I mean, Ring held